Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Iconic Repaints, back with a new video, and today I got something really cool, really special to show you guys, especially for you Godzilla fans. And if the intro video wasn't enough of a clue, today is going to be very Shin Godzilla centric, as I am looking at two massive Shin Godzilla figures from two different companies. It's going to be comparing the OG X Plus Gigantic Series Shin Godzilla Rick Edition that I put my own custom touches on, as well as the new kid on the block, the Omega Beast Shin Godzilla Awakening version. So yeah, strap in. This is gonna be my longest video yet. There's just a lot to get through, and these two figures, they demand my time and attention. So first things first, I didn't get to put these guys in the photo box, so since neither one of them fit in the photo box, we're taking it old school Iconic Repaint style, just using natural light and you know, hoping the images and video translate well into this review. But so we're gonna start with the X Plus figure. This came out in 2017. He's a big boy. He's 49 centimeters tall, very long. Shin Godzilla has a very long tail, and X Plus replicated that masterfully. You know, this is the Rick Edition, and I want to say shipped at launch, this probably cost, and I'm ballparking this right now, but this probably cost about $700 shipped from Japan to your house. It goes for, you know, way more now. You could take a 2-week vacation in Europe and come back and still not spend as much money as you will do paying for this figure in the aftermarket. But this is the Rick Edition, like I said, so this is supposed to be when Godzilla charges up his atomic ray. Instead of the old traditional blue like all the other movies, this time he glows a very bright, kind of majestic purple looking color. And because of that, it comes with two heads. Not only does it come with the standard Shin Godzilla face with the mouth closed, or should be somewhat closed, but it also has the roaring split jaw edition where he shoots his lasers from. Really cool. I was so excited to get this figure when it first came out at launch. I was sold on the prototype images. I'll get back to that in a little bit because it's not exactly what I thought I was getting, the initial paint job, and it's why I decided I had to add my own little touch-ups to it. So the pose, let's talk about the pose, because when this came out there was a lot of criticism about the pose. The Gigantic series from X Plus tends to lean towards stylized versions of figures, at least especially back then. You know, I think the track record was that they mostly leaned towards a stylistic approach, and a lot of people said that this was stylistic. It wasn't really accurate, like say the Kyoto Shin Godzilla, which is very museum looking pose. It's just like the movie. I mean, in Shin Godzilla the movie, which is a great movie, by the way, I didn't even really go into any background. Let me take a little second to just talk about Shin Godzilla right now. So it was a movie that came out in 2016, and it was a reimagining of sorts of Godzilla, but it was a modern twist, but it also kind of at heart felt like, in some ways, it felt most like the original 1954 movie than any other Godzilla sequel that has come out since. Whereas in 1954, Godzilla was a metaphor for the atomic age and the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki and all the terrors that came along with it. Godzilla himself was covered in charred skin, and you know, his head was designed to look like a mushroom cloud. And here in 2016, Shin Godzilla kind of is, for the first time since that movie, he is once again a grotesque, terrifying monster. He's covered in those same lesions and scars. He's obviously not healthy looking. His head once again has that mushroom cloud kind of deformity looking shape to it, which I think it's even more so now in this version. He's got like these weird oogly-eyed Muppet eyes that are creepy as hell. And this time, instead of atomic bombs, it's a metaphor for the Fukushima nuclear reactor meltdown that happened in, I think, 2011, going off the top of my head, from the tsunamis. And a lot of the damage that happens in Shin Godzilla's attacks are reminiscent of the flooding and all the boats kind of being pushed onto the mainland from just like the tsunami did. Also, it's social commentary in the sense that, like, what actually happened with the Fukushima disaster and how unprepared the Japanese government was. That also translates into this Godzilla movie. When Godzilla shows up, the government doesn't know what to do, and every action has to be approved by somebody directly above them from each department. No matter how minuscule or how small or how much of an emergency it is, they're all waiting for some kind of approval, and basically by the time they get that approval, it's too late. It's always too late. Something else has now happened. The situation is now worse. So I don't want to give away what actually happens in the movie. At this point, you've probably all seen it already if you're watching this video, but you guys don't want to, listen to me talk about the movie. You guys want me to talk about these figures. So anyway, back to the pose. There's a lot of people saying that it wasn't accurate, that Shin Godzilla should be more upright and kind of like in his statuesque pose, because in the movie he typically just has this very upright, immobile stature, and his big turkey thighs just kind of, slowly carry him from place to place to place. But if you watch when he does use his atomic breath in Shin Godzilla and he's charging up all purple, there's a quick little brief glimpse of him in that more bent over, hunched over pose where he looks more traditional, fluid in movement like the old Godzilla films. So this is accurate. It is not stylized, in my opinion. I know there was also like a Japanese promotional amusement park commercial that they made a Shin Godzilla commercial or movie or video, I should say, where they made him more dynamic pretty much exactly in this pose. So I guess you could say it's from that as well. Regardless, that's that. So yeah, I talked about the two heads. I did make some custom changes, like I alluded to when I'm going to talk about this a little further into detail later on, but I did buy this based off a prototype image. I didn't want to wait till aftermarket prices, so I jumped on it. When I did open this guy, I just felt like the purple was way too muted, way too pale. So what I customized, and this was one of my first early customs. I probably could do a much better job with this now, especially with the eyes. The eyes I'm going to retouch. I'm going to redo. I went for the filmy lenses that kind of cover Godzilla's eyes when he's using his atomic fire. I didn't really make it as neat as I would like to say now. Otherwise, I'm pretty happy with everything else. I made what should be purple. I made it more purple, and I added different dimensions of purple, just like the movie, where some areas are darker purple, some are more light, and kind of have like a little silver undertone to them. Happy with that. The red, I made it more vivid and brighter, so basically what was red already is just a little more red now. And I redid the teeth. The teeth came out flat initially from the box, out of the box I should say, and I just kind of made them a little more organic and a little grittier looking. And that's that. This is the OG X Plus Shin Godzilla. Now we're going to look at the challenger, the new contender, the Omega Beast Shin Godzilla. I just have to keep saying that name in my head because it's a brand new company. There's a brand new release. I think this is their first release. I know I've seen pictures of a Godzilla 2021, or I should say a Legendary Godzilla, because I'm not specifically sure if it's 2019 or 2021, but I've seen images of it. I don't think that's out yet. That's probably next. I know they have a lot of figures that are planned that they're kind of working on, so they're definitely kind of entering X Plus's domain for sure when it comes to these vinyl figures, in regards to size and price point. So very interested to see how this stacks up. Now right off the bat, I'm going to say that this was a commission. This OBX, this is not part of my collection. I was commissioned to do the teeth for this guy. And that was really the only thing I had to touch. I did touch up the claws and nails just because it did have some paint scuffs from transportation, and I made them slightly more yellow. That was just more of a preferential thing, to be honest. But the teeth, they came out a little flat, just like the X Plus did. So I made those a little more terrifying looking. I love how the teeth came out. I also added teeth. I kind of stuffed more teeth into those jaws of his. Happy with the result. And I kind of just shipped and slapped this bad boy up into the box today, so he's on his way to the end client, and hopefully he gets there all in one piece. This one shipped to me, the arm did one arm did come off. It was an easy thing to glue back on. That's going to happen with vinyl pieces, especially when they're coming from overseas. There's really no escaping it, and I'm sure as time goes on, all these companies will learn more and more about, how different methods, maybe better methods to protect their pieces during shipping. So this guy he's bigger than the X Plus. He's definitely taller. He's 52 centimeters from the top of his head. He's actually 68.5 centimeters to the top of his tail. The tail kind of goes more upright, whereas the X Plus, the tail kind of flails and is more like, I guess, wider. So if you're carrying these two pieces, you got to worry about the X Plus Godzilla tail kind of knocking things off, or like knocking things over all around you, whereas the Omega Beast kind of goes more upright. So you just got to watch where, what you might be walking under height wise. So yeah, upright pose. He's got the split jaw, just like the X Plus has. He's got the split jaw with more of a coloration inside of it, instead of like the deep purples that the X Plus has. This one has the purple, but it's also got like some cool little white effects going on, and it's got way more of like a red or magenta kind of shade in there going on. I would say like his whole head has got a much brighter and more obvious kind of red undertone to it and everything. So the paint is just remarkable. I mean, the paint, I'm gonna say it's definitely stylized. I don't remember blue really being a part of Godzilla charging up his atomic breath, but it looks beautiful. It's like this very pearlescent kind of blue color. It pops. One thing I will say about, as kind of enhanced as my X Plus Godzilla is, when it's displayed in a darkly or dimly lit room, you can't really see what I did to it. This guy, though, what they did with this paint, it's gonna pop no matter what kind of room you have it in. It's just gonna, whatever light is present, it's just gonna bounce. They did a wonderful job. I can't even compliment them enough on the paint job. Beautiful paint job, except for the teeth. But that's I'm sure that's gonna be addressed next time. And so the X Plus figure, kind of like as typical X Plus figures do, they kind of plug in with the vinyl. You just kind of have to like heat one end of the body up and then slide the tail in, and kind of just like twist it till it's nice and firm. Well, Omega Beast, they decided to use magnets, so far it looks like it's really sturdy. It feels sturdy, really sturdy actually. It does come with a tail stand, but for this video it didn't need it. I mean, it was, just for the sake of taking pictures and videos of it, it was really sturdy. I had absolutely no concerns about it whatsoever. But long-term display wise, just for my own well-being, I would definitely recommend you put that tail stand on there. So comparison, we talked about the height differences. The weight is something that surprised me. So I used to think the X Plus gigantic Shin Godzilla was heavy, but not anymore. Not after carrying around the Omega Beast and just having to hold one part of the body and one part of the thick ass tail, and to put them together, you really definitely feel the heft. I mean, this guy is solid. Definitely way heavier than the gigantic. So I think that kind of reflects in maybe the price point too. So like I said, starting off at launch, the X Plus Shin Godzilla was around $700 shipped. I believe Omega Beast, for this guy, to get him to your door is going to cost you closer to like $1,100 or $1,200. give or take. But and that might have received some criticism, but actually holding them both, you definitely feel like the Omega Beast is more of a statuesque quality of figure, which is pretty cool. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, it's not a cheap hobby, and you want to kind of feel like these things aren't just hollowed out pieces of vinyl. I get it. Paint, I kind of hit on paint already. This is where Omega Beast definitely shines. I mean, if I'm gonna rank these guys, out of 10, Omega Beast is gonna get a 10 out of 10 for this section here. I'm gonna say 9.5 with the exception of the teeth. But for the X Plus, I mean, I gotta not only do I take off for the teeth, but just the flatness of the purple and red that came, stock. Even for the Rick edition, the regular edition, the red is still kind of dim too as well. I'm just being honest about it. If I had the Rick, which is just the black with the red, with the and the red on the spines, no purple effect whatsoever, I would still feel like I needed to enhance the red all throughout the body. So I've seen them both in person. I prefer the Rick because of the two heads. But yeah, when I came out of the box, I was like, I didn't feel like it matched up to the prototype the way it was presented. I feel like that image that I bought this figure off of was enhanced. And that happens. I'm not gonna cry about it because I know pretty much every company does that. But yeah, so I did definitely feel like I had to do way more paint work to the X Plus, and rather than the Omega Beast, I really wouldn't even touch any of the paint on the Omega Beast unless it's just fixing something that came chipped or whatever. Which leads us to. So price, I kind of went over this already too. Obviously right off the bat, at launch, I mean, X Plus is cheaper. It's somewhat shorter of a figure. It's lighter of a figure. But if dollar value is part of your decision making on which of these you would prefer or which one of these you would go after, and this is again at launch, I would suggest the X Plus. It's an amazing figure and it holds up extremely well. But nowadays, I mean, if you're trying to chase down a gigantic X Plus Godzilla, Shin Godzilla, I mean, then you're probably looking at around $2,000 easy. And in that case, you're better off. You're saving money with the Omega Beast. The shipping boxes, I think. So the X Plus gigantic series figures, they typically come in plain large cardboard boxes with just a black imprint of the figure on there with like the font. It's not really an attractive box. There's nothing special about it, not worth really keeping unless you are using the box to move him one day or pack him into storage or obviously sell him. But again, Omega Beast gets points for a really nice packaging. The box is beautiful. And then it comes up with your typical cardboard protective box over it, which I really like. One thing these companies all do, and I'm not sure if I'm a fan of it. I don't know if there's a reason why they do it, but I don't personally like if UPS is dropping off a box at my house and it literally tells you what's in the box. Like it has a whole picture of the Godzilla and basically all the verbiage and everything like that right on the box that sits outside your house. I'm not a fan of that at all. I mean, if it would just, to me, that's like, you might as well just have like a target on the box that says like, hey, yo, come steal me now. But I don't know if it's something that these companies have to do with the size of everything, because everybody seems to be doing it. That'd be scary. I mean, it's like Sideshow or Iron Studios, like having boxes outside your house that basically say like, oh, Incredible Hulk statue, and I think they do that as well. So then again, I don't know if there's this particular point, but that's just my own little side thought on that. Roaring head is something that these two figures have in common. So obviously the X Plus gets points for having the two heads. I really like that, even though it does create somewhat of a seam issue that I've had, especially for my roaring head, which is why I stuck with the closed mouth on my Shin Godzilla. I've actually kind of pondered using like clay sculpt to get rid of the seam on it, but then it's like a permanent head. I can never take it off and replace it with the other head that the figure came with. And in case the day ever comes where I decide to sell it, that could be a deal breaker for a lot of people. They want two heads and they want to be able to use the two heads. So that is kind of the downside of having the alternate head. You definitely have this seam, and it's not nearly as bad with the head on I have on the figure right now. But with the other head, it's has a nice gap between the neck and the head, and it's ugly. But it is nice to have the option, and I kind of wish Omega Beast also had the second head. But when it comes to just comparing the roaring heads with the split jaw, I really got to say, I don't know who to give the edge to. Like, I think both of them are fantastic, and I think you can't go wrong with either one. The X Plus has like a richer purple, and the one in my head I didn't touch. The second head with the roaring head for the X Plus, I did not touch it. That's stock, and I'm comparing them together, as you can see. So I think I'm gonna have to give that one definitely. That's a wash. I mean, no one really edges the other. I love the paint of the Omega Beast of the head. I mean, it's really bright and vibrant, but the X Plus is no slouch either. I do like in this case, I do like the darker tones to it, but I do wish the head on the red on the head was a little more obvious and vivid. It's really dark, which is, I guess, for like the nighttime paint scheme of the X Plus. Criticisms, to be fair, I know Omega Beast is the new company, and I know they've been getting a lot of, I don't want to say a lot. I'm not gonna say a majority because I can't say that, but they've been getting criticism for things. I mean, of course they are. They're gonna have a target on their back. They're a new company, just like Spiral Studios is getting criticism for the huge King Ghidorah statue that's coming out now. I mean, a lot of people, especially ones that don't even have it in hand yet, have a lot of things to say about it. That's always gonna happen. I mean, even with the Playmates Godzilla figures or Monster Arts. There's always people complaining about everything, no matter what the price point is. And sometimes I'm leading that charge myself because I always got a lot to say. But, seeing both these guys in hand and having the X Plus for years, I've been very vocal about the things I've, wish they did better. Omega Beast, I know there was, like, for instance, there was one I saw that somebody had where the tail was completely, like, peeling off, and that sucks. Nobody wants to deal with anything like that with a brand new figure that they paid a lot of money for. Like I said, I opened this one out of the box and the arm was off the socket. Luckily for me, I was able to just super glue that sucker right back on and do, done. But it's what I can say about OBX now is that they seem to so far have wonderful customer service. So in the case where the guy got like the tail that was completely peeling off, they're sending him a brand new tail, no questions asked. And they've been very vocal about those kind of things. If any pieces are broken or missing, just let them know. They're going to send you a replacement part. I know I was told, and like, since I didn't buy this directly, I only have this figure for the commission. I was told that they're also going to ship out, I think, another piece of a part that covers up a seam or something like that. So don't necessarily quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was. So that's pretty cool. I mean, that's going out of your way to kind of do something to enhance the look of the figure that you don't necessarily even have to do. So that was really cool. Again, without hearing the criticisms, you don't really even get to see the customer service skills of somebody who's brand new trying to make their way onto the scene. And they got a lot of things coming along, so it's great to know that you have a company that's in it like this. So when it comes to the X Plus, I kind of went over like the flaws I had with that figure. I kind of feel like there's a little bit of false advertising with that promo picture that was definitely enhanced versus what I got. The teeth was a little flat. There's like a slack jaw too. I didn't talk about this, but from the front angle of this figure, it looks like somebody punched the hell out of this guy's lower jaw. Like it's like sideways, and it's not like that in the movie. I actually looked for it. I don't know if other people who have the same figure, I don't know if they have that or it's just mine that came all jacked up, but he's definitely got like this slack jaw. It looks like it's like kind of like his jaw's hanging too much to one side. And there is a point, there's actually an area where the tail connects to the body where the purple does not line up. Like the purple doesn't continue the natural way it should up the rest of his torso. Now I checked mine and the tail's in there snug. So if I want the tail to be in there snug, then you would kind of want the purple to line up the way it should. I didn't notice this. Actually, somebody actually pointed it out to me, and then now that I have seen it, it's kind of hard to unsee. Is it a huge deal? No, but it is something, and it's definitely something I got to talk about. So, is it fixable? Yeah, but it'll probably be a pain to fix it because the material they used for the purple is kind of more translucent on the sides, and I would have to cover up actual black parts of Godzilla's skin. I don't think that's going to really even out. I'm not even going to try to undergo that. I mean, it took me all this time to even realize it, but definitely got to point it out. So, like I said, and so where does that put me? Like final verdict wise, I mean, this is I can't have a video that's called X Plus Gigantic Series Shin Godzilla versus OBX, Awakening Shin Godzilla without kind of putting myself on one side of the fence. So a couple things that I haven't hit on yet that I didn't notice. I mean, I did talk about how both of them came with teeth that could definitely be improved. And I think otherwise I really can't criticize the OBX on really anything. The X Plus I can, which is sad to say. Now, price point for the OBX is maybe something that I could say would lower their stock for some buyers. Not everybody is willing to shell out that kind of money. But if you're looking for that X Plus Godzilla from the X Plus Shin Godzilla, I mean, you're going to pay a lot more now. Unless they reissue it, then it's going to be cheaper. Both of them are magnificent figures. I mean, they really are. I do, when it comes to pose, I kind of like just the way the dynamic posture of the X Plus Shin Godzilla. I kind of prefer, but really it's not. I love the height of the OBX. OBX just feels like a bigger figure, even though it doesn't take up as much shelf space, which is a great thing. That's another perk. I got to give that a point there too. But, I would have liked to see OBX have the second head sculpt, just because I'd be interested to see what their magnet approach to it could do for the seams. I wonder if they would actually, if it would look better between the two heads meshing with the body. That's just kind of my own personal thing. I mean, it's really nice to have the second head because I like the closed mouth head of the Shin Godzilla rather than having to keep it the roaring version, because a lot of that split jaw, that's really kind of like a wild, outrageous take on Godzilla. A lot of people don't necessarily like that, but what we got is what we got. I'm gonna say this. If cost is a factor, and they're kind of I'm gonna say they're kind of in somewhat of a close ballpark. It's not like one's worth like $4,000 and the other's worth like $300. They're both expensive, but if cost is a factor, I'm leaning on the X Plus at launch. Again, this is how they came out in market value. Now it's completely different story, but if cost is not a factor at all, and I really am surprised I'm saying this, but I think I'm leaning towards Omega Beast Shin Godzilla. Like it's just so impressive. It's bigger. The color, the paintwork is amazing. The sculpt wise, I'm gonna say something that I didn't even say before, but I honestly think Omega Beast, the texture of the body, like just the sculpt, the lines, the texture, the depth of it, I think it's more impressive. I think it's a more impressive sculpt on the body and the tail. I love how aggressive like the spikes go on the tail. I don't know if it's exaggerated or not, but it's when it's next to the X Plus. I mean, the spikes are way bigger going down the tail, and I think it's really cool. I like that, and the head sculpts, right? So real quick, I mean, when I first saw this figure teased, the OBX, I initially thought the head sculpt looked off. I thought the back of the head didn't look organic flowing from the neck, and I kind of criticized it for that early on. Seeing it in hand, I'm just not sure if it was a bad picture or if they've actually kind of adjusted it, but it looks spot on. Like, it looks great. And like I said, that's why the picture of the two roaring heads from both companies is so important, because you can see the overall shape of the head is similar. So no points taken off there. I think the head sculpt looks great. It's definitely it comes down to the paint. If you like the paint that's definitely a little stylized, then go with the OBX. I think that's the figure to have. If you really liked the more minimal approach to the X Plus, again, you can't lose with that either. You're gonna pay more for it, but you can't lose. So anyway, that's the video, guys. I think I covered everything I wanted to cover. I know, first of all, I've been dealing with X Plus figures for years. I love them. I mean, I think they're a great company. I never really had an issue with them customer service wise. Most of the issues that I've had with my figures have been easy to fix with either with glue or a paintbrush. OBX, I could definitely say they have great customer service at this point. I hope it keeps it going, because I know that company is going to grow and they're going to keep pushing out products. So I hope they don't lose any of that as they kind of take hold down the line. I know a lot of people worked hard on bringing these two figures out to collectors like myself. So I don't want to ever sound like I'm not grateful for it. It's a great time to be a Godzilla fan. All these companies are trying to get their fingers wet with Godzilla merchandise now, which only means good things for us as the end client. I hope you enjoyed this. Please like and subscribe, or comment anything that you would like to do after this video. I got other things I'm working on for you. A lot of Godzilla stuff, a lot of Godzilla related stuff coming down the pipeline. Yeah. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.